Hey,
Hey, beautiful.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Wonderful. In your beautiful pink.
Thank you. It's so good to see you. I miss you so
I
much.
know. I've got to give the backstory on how we met and what's going on now.
Oh, God, so much.
It is still October, Breast
God.
Cancer Awareness Month. And I say in honor of survivors, in support of those in the battle, and in honor of those we have lost, it's Survivor Sundays.
Yes.
The final edition of 2020. Now, my diagnosis was a couple of years ago, and for whatever reason, this year I got the idea to do this, and I'm so happy that you are joining me today to share your story, my
Thank you for
girl,
having me.
of course, Latan Oden. So let's take it back. Let's take it back to almost 20 years ago. Young tenders in this radio thing, right?
Yes, honey.
So, of course, I was on the programming side, on the air.
Mhm.
I started off doing traffic, and you
Did
were
you?
not
I didn't,
reporting traffic.
I
You
did
don't
not know
remember
that.
that, girl? I used to report traffic not only on WJOB, but also on WDFN back in the
Wow.
day, the sports station.
Wow.
And you were in the traffic department. Now, explain the traffic department. It's different than reporting traffic.
Yes. Well, it's funny because when I came into JLB, I came in from a temp service.
Wow.
That's how I got hired in. And they were like, it was a temp service right across the street because we were downtown at the time. And they were like, we have this job. We think you'll be perfect for it. They're going to love you over there. So I didn't know it was the radio station. That's always been my dream to work in radio.
Wow.
And so I got over there and I started out being an intern with uh, Charlene.
Oh, yeah.
I was her intern. And so I did anything and everything they asked me to do. I attempted to get a job in the traffic department because I'm like, this job, not everybody can do it.
Yeah,
You have to be a special kind of somebody to know how to do traffic.
that's right.
And they'll never get rid of these jobs. So this is the job that I want.
So to
It did.
understand what traffic means, that's basically you're responsible for the commercials and the spot loads and making sure
Yes,
that's the revenue, that's the money, that's the
that's
bloodstream of
the
the
money
radio
maker.
station. So very
Yes,
important job for sure. You
yes,
left for quite a while and you
yep,
returned just a couple of years ago, and I was so happy to be able to work with you again. Neither
yes.
one of us knew what the future was going to hold.
No,
Just a few months after my diagnosis, you got the call as well back
yeah,
in 2018. So let's break
yes.
that down. What happened when when did you get the call?
So it started out like this. I had just gotten back to the radio station in July
Hmm.
of 2018.
Right.
Happy to be back. September of 2018, I felt a huge lump in my breast.
Mm.
And when I say huge, it felt like a baseball protruding out of my breast. And it just didn't feel right.
I remember when you shared that with me.
It was the weirdest thing because it hurt.
Yeah.
And when you talk to people, they're like, oh, breast cancer doesn't hurt. It's not supposed to feel like that, but mine hurt.
Yeah.
So I called my doctor and she's like, oh, girl, you probably going through some things, stress.
Yeah.
Come on in here. Let me take a look at it. And she reiterated the same thing. She's like, Ton, this is kind of weird. Breast cancer really doesn't hurt. So I really don't think it's that. I just think that, it could be hormonal. You're about to come on your period, which I was.
Yeah.
And she's like, let's go and send you in and get a ultrasound. Let's go and get a mammogram. We're going to send you for your mammogram. Prior to that, I had not had a mammogram. That was my first one.
Wow.
So I had gone in and it's crazy because I have women in my family that have gone through this.
Right.
I have several women in my family who have had breast cancer. So why this had been my first one and why
And
it
how old were
wasn't
you at the
on the
time?
radar. 46 now, so I was 44.
Okay.
I was
So whatever
44.
reason you chose not to get it done at 40.
Right.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
So went in, had the mammogram. Came and went, I'm good. It's probably was just hormonal and I'm good.
Yeah.
Something was like, you need to call. She had gone on vacation. Well, she had gone on a retreat for doctors, and she hadn't had time to read the report and come back. So when I called, they're like, you need to come in. And so when I got in, she's like, this is the weirdest thing because I've been going to this doctor for forever.
Mm-hmm.
So when I go into the doctor, it's like, hey, what's up? How's everybody doing? I'm chatting with the staff. Girl, they put me in a back room.
Yeah, that's what they do.
I hadn't even seen this part of my doctor. I didn't even know it was back there.
Right.
They put me in the back room, and it took her a long time to get to me, to the point where I wanted to just put on my clothes and be out.
And run.
She finally comes in, and my doctor is, I'm real touchy-feely. You know that about me.
Yeah.
I want to hug you. I want
for sure.
She is not about that. She came in with the notepad, and she's like, you have breast cancer. Straight and to the point. And then she started crying. My doctor.
Wow.
She was like, LaTon, I know what I said. She said, and I still can't believe that this is what it is. She was like, but we need to do more tests because we don't know. She's like, I can't tell you what stage you're in. She said, but I know you have it. She said, now you can leave out of here and not do anything in the next couple of days, in the next couple of months. She said, you'll be okay. She said, but I still think that you should follow up with a surgeon. You're going to need to do all of these things. So she kind of laid the steps out for me. I left out of there like, I can't believe that this is about to be my life. And you feel like when you get the diagnosis, for me, I felt like it was a death sentence.
Oh, absolutely.
All of these things go through your head. You're like, what about
the same way?
Who gonna take care of my babies? You love your husband, but it's like, who gonna take care?
Yeah, I'm the mama. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
So I called my husband, I called my mom, everybody met me at the house, and I got right into what do we need to do? When you get past the diagnosis, it's like, what do we need to do?
What's
Who
the
do I
next
need to
step?
call?
That's right.
Plan it. I got to get through this. Because after you feel like I'm going to die, then it's like, I got to survive.
It's go time.
I got to go. So that was in September. October, I had my biopsy, which was a really horrible experience for me. It's not
fun
at all. And so for mine, had the biopsy. Maybe a day or so later, I'm at the mall with the kids, just trying to wrap my mind around what's going on. My best friend is with me, and I feel like I'm about to die. In that instance, I feel like I'm about to die. I have this cold sweat that's come over me. I feel like I'm about to pass out. Something is not right. So fortunately, God is just so amazing. Fortunately, I'm telling my best friend, I'm like, I need to go to the hospital right now. Something is wrong. Around the corner comes my brother-in-law and his fiance. And I'm like, can you take the kids? Because I'm dying right now. I got to go to the hospital. Get to the hospital only to find out that when they did the biopsy, it didn't stop bleeding. So I was bleeding internally, which caused a puddle of blood that sat up, that caused this pain that was excruciating on top of everything else. So then after the biopsy, you find out what stage you're in. And for me, I was at a stage 1, which was good. And then from there, I met with my surgical team. I met with you meet with your surgical team, and it's so funny because you go in and you're like, I'm going to write down all these notes. I'm going to remember all of this stuff. But somebody told me, my cousin told me, you need to take people with you because you're not going to hear any of that.
Yeah.
And you think, oh, I'm alert. I'm gonna hear. But Cheron, when I tell you she was so right, all I heard was womp 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 womp. And I
Was it
thank
was
God.
it one of those full day appointments? Because that was
Yes.
what it was for me. It was a full day of meeting with the gynecologist, her
Hmm.
team, meeting with for me, reconstruction doctor, her
Hmm.
team, watching videos, having lunch, coming back,
Yes.
more talks. Was it
Yes.
that type of appointment?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can relate.
It was a long day, and it's a lot of information, and it's a lot of stuff that you have to consider.
Yeah. It's too
You
much. It's
know,
overwhelming.
it's overwhelming. So I'm thankful that one of my cousins that had already gone through, she was with me. My mom was with me. My husband was with me. So the room was full of people with different abilities to hear what's going on because it's
Hmm.
so much information.
So much.
So I had already wrapped my mind around, if y'all got to take these girls, y'all can take these bad boys. Listen, save my life. You can take
Yeah.
these things. So you have to go through, after I went through the meetings,
Mhm.
it's like, this is the plan of action. So you're
Right.
going to do 4 cycles of this. You're going to do 13 cycles of this. Then you're going to go and, so for me, I had to do,
Well,
uh,
let's back up. What was the
okay.
diagnosis? You said stage 2, but what exactly was it?
It was stage 1,
Stage
HER2
one.
triple negative.
Say it one more time. I'm sorry.
It's HER2 triple negative.
Got it.
So for mine, it wasn't based on the estrogen buildup.
Okay.
Mine was based on, so you know how for some people they're like, um, and that's a funny thing too. You don't realize how many different types of breast cancer there is.
Right.
You think just breast cancer is breast cancer.
Yeah.
You know, you
Because
think,
mine
oh,
was estrogen receptor, and
see,
yours wasn't. Yeah.
nope,
Mm-hmm.
completely different.
Crazy.
And so even with going through, after you figure out what kind you have, it's like, okay, what is the plan of action?
Yeah.
So for me, when they decided, because I had already made up in my mind, if you got to take my boobs, you can take my boobs. I don't care.
Yeah.
But mine was the type where taking them or leaving them, it did not reduce the chance of it coming back or not coming back.
Okay. Okay.
So my doctors were like, you know, if you take them or not, if it comes back, it comes back. It's not going to lessen the chance of it not coming back.
Wow.
So at that point, they decided that let's go ahead and just have, so my surgery was a little bit different than yours.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a mastectomy.
Yeah.
Mine was a lumpectomy.
Yeah.
So from chemo to surgery to radiation.
How many rounds of chemo or weeks?
So I started with they call it the Red Devil, which is
Heard that term.
just, I liken it to walking through the belly of the beast. It was, you could see it in my body. I remember one day we're sitting there for the first round, and my mom is looking at me like she saw a ghost. But when they pump that poison in you, your body radiates.
Wow.
And it is a feeling that you've never felt before in your life because you know it's poison.
You know what
You
it
know,
is. Yeah.
you know what it is.
Yeah.
You know, it's like we gotta pump this in you to kill this.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're killing that, you're killing everything.
That's
Your
right.
taste buds, you don't realize that you're not going to be able to taste. My doctor was like, you know, as you got 2 weeks after we start this treatment before your hair starts falling out. I was like, wait a minute, what?
That part. Yeah, that part.
2 weeks. So with me, I knew I couldn't control much of anything with this
Right.
thing,
Right.
but I could control that.
Yeah.
And I had a very good conversation with one of my cousins, and she was like, she wasn't going to cut her hair, and it just was what it was. And one day she said she was washing her face and she did this in her hair and her hair completely came out. And I didn't want that experience. I wanted to be like, this is the one thing that I can control.
Mm-hmm.
So I decided to have a hair cutting party.
I remember you
You
cut it
remember when
all off.
yeah,
Yep.
I cut it super, super low. And before I got to the hair cutting party, I decided, you know what, this week I'm gonna, because by then my hair was like down here. I was so
Long, beautiful
proud.
hair. Yes. Yep.
So I had a conversation with my cousin who's my hairdresser, and I was like, let's cut it in stages before we get to the big chop. So I was like, I want to try some different hairstyles. So we started with that, and then we did the big chop. And I know you and I had this conversation about how in the beginning I really didn't want to share this. Like
Hmm.
I thought that it would just be, I would go through this
You don't want
and
it to define you. Just,
exactly.
that you went through that. Yeah,
You just want to be done with it.
that's right.
And so the day of the hair cutting party, I hadn't told a lot of people. I
Hmm.
had my closest family and friends at this hair cutting party,
Yeah.
and somebody went live on Facebook.
Okay.
Now, mind you, I hadn't told really anybody.
Okay. Okay.
And God had to deal with me
Yeah.
about it because I was really upset. But God was like,
Right.
listen, I need people to see how you go through this.
Mm-hmm.
I need people to see God in you. I
Mm-hmm.
need I need this. I need for
Yeah,
you to be transparent.
that's right.
And so at that moment I decided, you know what, God, if nothing else, people are going to see that you were the one who really got me through. Because when you go through this, Cheron, it's like I had the support of my friends and my family, but it's a very lonely place to be.
Absolutely. It doesn't matter how many people in the room, you feel completely isolated and alone, like you're the only one.
No,
Mhm.
that's it.
Because at the
So,
end of the day, it is just you. It
yeah,
really is. At the end of the day,
it's
it's
like
you
giving
battling
birth.
it. Yeah.
When you had that
When you
baby,
got to
it could be a
push,
room full of paper. Who pushing? You
uh-huh,
had to
you.
push.
Yes, it's you. That's it.
So it's kind of like the same thing, and that's why I look at going through, it's like it's a very humbling experience, especially with the chemo because it breaks you down.
Yeah.
And it's you and God,
Mm-hmm.
and you gotta cling, it's a very humbling experience, especially for women that uh, do a lot,
That's right. The
that
managers
go
of
go
their
go.
household,
Hmm.
working, mother, it's a whole lot.
It's a
So
whole
once you
lot.
got beyond the rounds of chemo, how many weeks of
Mhm.
chemo did you have? And then you had
So
the
I
surgery.
did 12,
Mm.
22, 22.
Weeks?
Yeah,
Weeks.
yeah. So
So
the
that
Red
took you all
Devil
the way to
was,
the end of the year.
yeah, well, yeah, that,
Beyond the
so
end
the
of the
Red
year.
Devil was every 2 weeks, every
Okay.
other week.
Okay.
And then it was 13 weeks of the Toxel,
Okay.
which was 13 weeks of that. So I was done with chemo in like March.
Okay. Wow. So then you
So
had your surgery.
then I had my surgery April 29th. And mine was, I was excited because I'm like, oh, they're going to lift these girls up.
Girl, let me tell you. When I tell you, if going through all of this, I end up with boobs out of this world, sitting pretty, I deserve at least that. I remember a moment where we were in the bathroom together and you were like, "Ah, look." I said, they're beautiful. Yes. I remember that. I was
You
very
you
happy for you.
I was not ashamed to show these girls off. It's like you want to see them, let me show them to you. I'm
Hmm.
still like that. My mother is like she'll show her boobs to anybody. Yes, I will. So for
So,
surgery for me, I got the lumpectomy. I got a lift and a reduction. So surgery was pretty long. Surgery was about 8.5 hours for me. but it's
Wow.
the best sleep you'll ever have
Right.
in your life. It was wonderful.
Yeah.
Everybody else was nervous and worried,
Right.
but for me, you don't you don't know.
I remember my surgery was what, 6 to 8 hours long, and when I woke up, it felt like it was just 15 minutes ago.
Right.
Like I didn't even realize it was that long.
I didn't realize. So when I woke up, I didn't realize it was done. I was like, when are they going to take me
Yeah.
back? They're like,
Right.
you've been out for 8 hours.
So then you had to do a third step, the radiation, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Which, everybody was like, radiation, walk in the park. It's no big deal. So I'm excited. I'm excited. I had just turned 45. So I had come back to work. I was about to turn 45. I had gone on a cruise for my 45th birthday.
Yeah.
And I come back to do radiation. And everybody's like, oh, radiation's the easy part. No worries. When they bring you in the room, because they got to tattoo you, they have to lay you in this machine, and they have to prepare you for what you're going to be doing for every day for the next 4 weeks. So I have tattoos, permanent tattoos on me from radiation. And the process of going through it was so overwhelming that when I left there, I broke down so bad because everybody said this was going to be a walk in the park.
Right.
And the mental of, I got to get tattooed, I got to lay in this machine, they got to turn me this way, that way, and this is going to be my life for the next 4 weeks every single day.
That's tough.
It was a lot. It's a lot on your mental, you know,
Absolutely.
the mental wear and tear.
Because by
People
now it's
talk,
probably almost a year after the initial diagnosis at this point.
yes,
Wow. What a journey. What a
it was
journey.
a heck of a journey,
Yeah.
heck of a journey.
So I think there's a running theme to the women. There is a running theme to the women that I've been speaking to. Every one of you, including myself, was diagnosed in their 30s or like early to mid 40s. This is not
Yes.
your grandmama's disease.
Nope.
It is a disease that is being diagnosed at a younger age. I mean, I've heard of women in their 20s being diagnosed.
Yes.
Clearly, if you were to do this, God forbid, you would have gone in at 40 to get your mammogram, right?
Yes.
Yeah. What was the
Absolutely. And
reason why you didn't go at 40?
you, just life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Life gets in the way. And being able to say that I caught this and I caught it so early
Early.
should be reason enough for people. Because here's the thing about this HER2 triple negative, it
Right.
works very fast.
Right.
Had I not gone in, I could have easily gone from a stage 1 to a stage 2. It
If
could
you
have
would have
easily
ignored
gone
the
into my
signs and
lymph
didn't go
nodes
in. Yeah.
easily.
Mm-hmm.
But early detection is definitely
It is
key.
key. When I turned 40, I knew I was going to go right in. I made the appointment. Like you said, life happened. I canceled it. And my mom was like, it's nothing. Just go in. And I feel like if it wasn't for her, maybe I would not have gone in that
Right.
particular year. You never know. That's what I really want to stress is to get your mammogram as soon as it's time
Yes.
to. If you're able to, get it before even 40. Because like I
Right.
said, people are getting diagnosed so much earlier than they
And
used
if
to
you
be.
have a history of it in your
That part
family,
too.
you
You
really
have to get it
need
before
to.
40. Absolutely.
Did you have to get the genetics tested? Did you do
I
the
did
genetics
get
tested?
that. I did get that. And it was negative. No
Yeah.
genetics. Mine was considered spontaneous cancer.
Wow.
They were not able to tell me, like they're not ever able to tell anyone unless you have a family history, how I got it, why I got it. I have no idea. I have some ideas on my own, but I was not able to be told that. um I do want to know what got you through this whole life changing deal that you went through. What really got you
So,
through?
a part of it was my babies being able to live a normal life through it.
That's right.
So they were younger, but they had busy lives. My daughter
Hmm.
was in cheer, my son was in football, and life continued to go on for them, which I
Yeah.
needed it to.
Yeah.
Um, but my friends and my family, that crew,
Yeah.
when I tell you the crew was everything, when I tell you we would go to chemo, my first chemo session, it was like 20 of us
Wow.
for
Yeah.
the very first one.
That makes a
Um,
difference.
being able to depend on people
Hmm.
when you're
And
used to doing,
finally asking for help, because we never ask
oh,
for help. We always
that
do it
right
on
there,
our own. Yeah.
that
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah.
Being able to relinquish stuff
That's right.
because you can't do
Yes.
it. Girl, that meal train, remember we talked about,
Right.
and it's funny because I wasn't doing a lot of eating, but to
Hmm.
have that, to know that my family would be fed,
Hmm.
was everything.
That's right.
Um,
I got my
having
house
those,
cleaned for free a couple of times.
I had the house. Listen, my sister-in-law paid for the housekeeper to come out
Amazing.
once every 2 weeks for
Yeah.
me through the whole process of chemo.
Wow. Amazing.
That was everything.
Hmm.
So I think the biggest part for me was the village.
That's right.
Being able to have those, that quiet time with God, being able to journal,
That
that was
part.
huge.
Hmm.
So you I think another running theme is being able to have the help and
Hmm.
knowing that this is not something that you can do alone.
No, absolutely.
You need
So
that
what,
Get Fresh crew.
right? So what would you say to a woman that was just diagnosed with breast cancer?
I would say that number one, put together that core group of people that you can depend on. My mom came and took me to every appointment. I never had to drive to an appointment.
That's right.
Um, get a get the crew. Number one, if you, for me, I was, because I was at a stage 1, I was very comfortable with my team of doctors.
Right.
I was comfortable with the hospital. Had I been a little bit further along, I think I would have gone for a second opinion.
Right.
I would say that you are your biggest advocate.
Advocate, that part.
If you cannot advocate for yourself, get you someone that can
That's
advocate for
right.
you, because
Absolutely.
you're not going to know what you don't know,
That's right.
because there's so much coming at you. There's so many things that you don't know. I'll tell you, at one point during chemo, my fingers went numb. My
Mm.
fingernails were black, my toes were black. They were over medicating me. And I caught it. I caught it. And I'm like, something is not right. I cannot feel my fingertips. Something is wrong. So the doctor brought me in. He was like, this is what it's like. It's like if we have a glass and we're trying to fill up the glass. Sometimes the glass will overfill. So
Hmm.
that means we need to back off.
That's right.
So I had to take some time off of chemo because they were over medicating me. So as you have to be able to advocate for yourself. So
That's
those
right.
are the two
Speak up.
takeaways. Get the crew,
Absolutely.
and know you got to advocate for yourself, or find you someone that can advocate for you.
Early
And tap
detection
into
is,
the resources.
that's right.
I
Tap
know
into all the resources for
it's
sure.
so much, from the meal train, from Shades of Pink. It's a foundation that they will pay some of your bills, because in my circumstance, I didn't have short-term and long-term disability.
Right.
It's
Right.
not something you don't plan to get cancer.
Yeah.
I didn't have those things. So Shades of Pink stepped in and were like, we're going to pay this for you, pay this for you.
Wow.
So that was a blessing. So if you can't find out, there is, at each hospital, there is someone, the advocates, that can, on your behalf, search out these resources for you, because you're
That's
going to need
right.
them.
And ladies, do not, just don't be afraid to find out what's going on in your body. Don't be afraid of the unknown. You want to know what's happening to your body so you can
Yes.
take care of it and move on. Latan, you don't look at all what you've been through.
Thank you. That's
You look
nothing but God.
beautiful. You look beautiful. And you've always, one thing that I will say is that you've always maintained such a positive spirit through it all. That's just who you are. And this diagnosis did not change that at all. You always
No.
kept that positive spirit. You're always motivating other people, even through what you were going through. So just love you. Love you so much.
Love you too.
Yes. I'm so glad that you're able to join me for the final Survivor Sundays of October 2020. And I guess the bottom line in all of this is not your grandmother's disease.
No.
Get your mammogram on time or early. Don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. Be your own advocate. And like Laton, like me, like Crystal, like Kanisha, like Marlita, all the women I've talked to this month, you can get through it.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Any final words to wrap up the month?
So be encouraged.
Yes.
My husband has a slogan that says, "Forget about me, I love you."
Oh, I love that.
Family. And if we both are more concerned about how can I help my sister out,
That's right.
the next person can come along and worry about how they can help you out. And I
Absolutely.
think if nothing else, take that away. If you're going through, if you know somebody that's going through, a phone call to say, hey, can I bring a dish over?
Yeah.
Can I do something for you? Because I know for me, and I'm sure it was the same way for you, you didn't always want to talk.
Yeah.
You didn't always want to pick up the phone and have a conversation.
That's
So
right.
sometimes I just appreciated somebody sending me a text. Hey, I'm
That's
thinking
right.
about you. I'm praying for you today.
Mm-hmm.
You know, be of encourage to one another.
Absolutely.
That's my final thought. Cause
Please
we all we
follow at,
got.
what'd you say?
I said we all we
We
got.
all we got for sure. Please follow at Cheron Sheroes, pillow giveaways, and just a way to support those survivors, those who have passed on, those who are going through the battle. Cheron Sheroes. Thank you, Latan. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Miss you,
And I
girl.
miss you at work. I don't get to see you because of COVID, but
I
one
know.
day we'll get back to some type of normalcy,
I cannot
hopefully.
wait.
And I'll be able to see you every day.
I know, right?
Tell your family I said hello, wish them well from me, and I
Thank you.
appreciate you for joining me today.
Thank you, honey. Have a great day.
Love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Bye.